Welcome to the Reality Check, Friday's edition. Now, we normally do the show Tuesdays, but we had some events, like a big show to go to. So today, we have our special guest in the background, the M&M Genie. And I don't know, maybe he can help us throughout the show here. Kreskin and an M&M, I don't know. But let's see, M&M Genie. Let's put you right here for now. Okay, will we have a good show? Give me a break. Well, you can tell the Genie's at least honest. Okay, Genie, we'll put you over there. I thought you'd at least say we'd have a good show with you being here. Now, many topics to go over, of course. Politics is normal, Mueller, Trump, whatever bonanza. We have some sports to go over today. Obviously, this weekend's UFC 224, and we always break down those fights for you. That's a regular thing on this show. And other sports like LeVar Ball suggesting that the Lakers can help Lonzo Ball fix his shot by drafting LiAngelo and LaMelo Ball. This week, let's see, every day there's a new, I don't know how we say it, a new scam that they got here. If it's not Vetti with his fake news, Mueller probing donations from foreign connections to the Trump inauguration. These are the same guys that couldn't care less when Mickey Mouse and Hitler donated to Obama. Nobody cared less. No big deal. Who cares? Maxine Waters exploding on the House floor says that she resents making America great again. And that I can believe. That's not fake news. That's a true story. I do believe that Maxine Waters does not want to make America great again. She thinks America was never great, and, but with Maxine Waters, what do you expect? They don't call her Dirty Waters for nothing. Here's one that's benefited all the time from her husband and loans and doing business. One of those people that's gotten rich, add up their salary every year, and if they didn't spend $1, they still have about 50 times net worth than what they've earned. How did that happen? Let me see. Yeah. What else can you say about that? I don't know. Where do we go from here? We can go to Seattle, of course. They unbelievable town of Seattle, city of Seattle. Now the city council voted to approve $500 per employee. So meaning if you're a business, you will be paying $500. And I don't have all the details on it, but it's supposedly $500 per employee. So I wonder if you hire somebody in December, maybe for holiday labor, do you have to pay $500 per employee? I mean, how much, not only their $15 minimum wage, but how many more jobs can they lose in Seattle? The town that should be thriving has all the resources to be a huge business magnet, and yet just going down the toilet bowl of liberalism. What else do you expect, though? You're going to charge businesses $500. You think about it, a grocery store wants to hire a bagger, and they're going to pay $500, basically a $500 fine for hiring somebody. Seattle, what else can you say? So let's see. Stormy Daniels, I heard she recently said something that she slept with 1,000 guys. Now, I am definitely here to debate that fact. I don't think she slept with 1,000 guys. She might have had sex with a few thousand, but I doubt she slept with 1,000. No drum for that one. So let's see. This week, was it Georgina Chapman? Georgina. That's reminds me of kind of like a Willy Wonka. Grandma Joe, Grandma Josephine, Grandma George, Grandma Georgina. Well, Georgina Chapman, if you don't know, the estranged wife of Sir Harvey Weinstein, speaks out, or she spoke out, I should say, for the first time. Here's somebody who's going to claim she's a victim. A victim of what? She knows of her husband's ill-gotten gains. She's reaping the because I guarantee you if they decided to take all the money, strip it from both of them, she'd be the first person to complain about that. But she knew exactly what this guy was doing. stop with this nonsense. Let's see, we had Kamala Harris against Gina Haspel attacking her. They're all attacking her. I love it. Like John Brennan, who was part of the waterboarding program himself. Now all of a sudden, Gina's not good. Same thing with John McShane. When it was Brennan's time to get nominated, he was all righty. When it was confirmation time for good old John Brennan, John McShane was there, open arms for him, saying what a great American he was. And now here he comes. He can't come to work because he's too sick. I get that. So then just keep your mouth shut about it. Nope, he's got to attack Haspel. I love these people. Just like Chuck U. Schumer was okay with it. Now he's attacking Haspel. People are like talking about how asking her if this is immoral, if this is not. It's irrelevant. One, she was doing what her job was. She didn't make her own rules and do things. She did what was expected of her from her job. If we've changed our policy since then, which I think is ridiculous, because everybody, even fools like John Brennan said, we got a lot of information out of people when we waterboarded them. People talk about torture. To be honest, I'd torture anybody to save American lives. That's just it. If you can save American lives by doing it, do it. We're here for America. Everybody else, enemy combatant. I'm not saying attack other countries. I'm just saying when you catch these people that were killing Americans, you torture them to find that information. No problem with that. We're here to save American lives. But another one of these fools that was against Haspel in the confirmation fight was Kamala Harris. And her little slick question of, is it immoral? And don't you think it's immoral? Don't you think it's immoral? Hey, Kamala, this is why I would never get nominated for anything, because I would be, if she was asking me that question, I'd be like, Kamala, is it immoral to sleep with a married man? I wonder what her answer would be to that. No, as long as you're getting promoted, it's okay as long as the governor of California, or what? Yeah. So, another one of these clowns, always on the attack. But if you look into in their closets, there are many skeletons. What's funny, if we talk about, let's see, they talk about let's say abuse of people and whatnot, and all these other types of abuse, and these people are being held down and whatnot. Let's think about it. If we gave a minute of silence for every baby that was aborted since Roe v. Wade, we'd be silent for 100 years. Yeah. Let's see. We had more fake Michael Cohen news, wrong Michael Cohen on some of this stuff. But what do you expect from the porn star's lawyer? It's just keep on talking about the colluding with Russia to win an election. I got to tell you that, one, there's no proof of it, but two, the only thing worse than that is actually colluding with the DNC and Russia to lose an election. Think about it. Got to take a quick drink. Was it Shepard Smith, that clown this week, says you can't say Trump pulled out of the Iran deal. He made a decision to violate it. Now, if this is me talking on, let's say, this program, or somebody else like me that doesn't get a dime for doing this stuff, and is just, just doing it, or somebody that you're talking to your friend, or somebody by the water cooler, or you're at a bar half drunk and somebody says something like that, like that Trump just didn't pull out of the Iran deal, he made the decision to violate it. Now, that could be almost acceptable, just like if somebody says, I don't know, like Ryan Leaf was a great pro quarterback, I'm sure this guy's made millions of dollars in his career to be a journalist, report news, I don't know, whatever, host a show. And the fact that he would say trash like this is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, think about it. Shep Smith talking about Trump violating a deal that wasn't even legal. When did Iran sign the deal? Never. Was this a treaty? No, it wasn't voted on. Obama didn't take this thing through the proper procedures. He made pretty much a proclamation like he was a king to have this Iran deal, and he gave away American money, which Mr. Transparency didn't tell us where he got, how he got it, and we still don't know. And we got nothing. We have some deal that wasn't signed, not validated, not voted on. Nobody cares. So Trump's not violating a deal. There is no deal. You know, that's like you saying, yeah, let's make this trade, and you're giving up everything, and the other team gives you nothing, and they didn't sign off on it anyway, and you just leave your players there, and they don't send you anything. Like, you're not violating. There's no deal. There's no deal. They didn't agree to anything. They haven't done anything. I mean, the evidence is there. They still haven't stopped anything. All it is we gave away our assets and we got ripped off. But nothing was officially signed. So, I mean, Shepard Smith knows better. So, I mean, is he trying to pull the wool over people's eyes? No. He's just scummy. He's just scummy, and that's what it is. So we had the Eric Schneiderman, you know, this guy from New York, big attorney guy, and he got busted. I'm part of the Me Too movement. He's one of the people that was going after Weinstein, which rightfully so. Weinstein should be in jail. But here it is. Schneiderman gets caught choking girls, being nasty to the girls from day one. A girl talking to her male friend, and he's already on the attack before he's even dating the girl. You know, and so then here goes poor Eric. It's okay, Eric. I hear the name Carlos Danger still free. You can go get that one, buddy. So, yeah. And the other day, I couldn't believe it. I was actually looking at Twitter, and Jim Acosta actually said something nice about Trump. He was talking about the Obama policies dumped by Trump, the Iran deal, Paris Climate Agreement, the Trans-Pacific Trade Deal, DACA, Obamacare, individual mandates. So all these things were getting rid of by Trump, and he's just saying these are Obama policies dumped by Trump. You know, I don't know if he meant it as a compliment to Trump, but it definitely is a compliment. I know if somebody told me I got all this stuff accomplished, I'd be thrilled because all this stuff was junk. North Korea, of course, released 3 American prisoners as they're accusing Mike Pompeo of being nowhere to be found. And, of course, he's working hard, doing his job, and releasing 3 prisoners. And do we know if North Korea is going to make any deal or hold to any deal? Do we trust him outright? No, we don't know any of that. But at least we've got some. Here it is negotiating with strength. We're getting something already. What Obama do? Obama gave up everything and got nothing. You know, what else can you say about that? We have Devin Nunes doing the work of the people. You know, he's trying to get a lot of unredacted reports. He's having to threaten Sessions constantly. It's the same old, same old. You know, I wish this Trump would just fire Sessions, get rid of it. I'm tired. I hear people saying how great Sessions is going to be, and he's doing this, and he's going to do that, and he's going to do that, and he's setting it up, and the great this, and follow this white rabbit, and blah, blah, and there's 8,000 indictments, and it's time to start arresting people. So every day that we let this go on and not arrest these criminals, and we know all who they are, every day we let this go on, it's just another wasted day of Trump's presidency. It's another wasted day of America getting back to normal. It's another wasted day of America's success. So, you know, as we know, a lot of places, because they're raising a minimum wage or, you know, putting in kiosks, and, you know, they're obviously trying to find other ways to cut down on labor because the cost of labor with the minimum wage rises, like here in Arizona, it's raising up every year. Seattle, $15 an hour, and all these other tasks. It's just a bit much. So there's a plan to start automated commerce facilitators local 2855. and it'll be made to address workplace issues. Kiosks perform long hours, said union rep Carmen Aparicia. They need scheduled time off for fan cleaning, cool down periods. Also, we call for sanitizing stations to be installed for cleanliness and dignity, and the use of these culturally sensitive screensavers to be supplied based on how each kiosk self-identifies. The organizing effort has gained support at Walmart self-checkout registers, have expressed interest in the ACFL 2855, and area self-service gas pumps have declared a possible sympathy strike if the unionizing effort is blocked. Ladies and gentlemen, it might be a joke to you, but this will be reality to some. Now we had Mueller, the clown he is. Obviously, anybody with intelligence, like this guy's a fraud. We know how him and James Comey have come out and they were working together. Comey is somebody who was fired, right? And Mueller's giving him advice, telling him how to testify, how to say this, what to say that. Now, who does that for ex-employees? Once they're done, they're done. But, so anyway, we had those fake charges that Mueller had, right? He posted all these against a bunch of these Russian operatives, right? 13 Russians and 3 companies, Concord Management and Consulting. There was some catering company, and just, here it is, Mueller getting indictments. Whatever. Nobody cared. Nobody thought anybody would show up for these. Russia's not bringing them here. These companies are just laughing. They couldn't care less, right? However, though, one of the companies last week did care, and they got some lawyers. So Concord Management had some lawyers, and they told Mueller and the court that they wanted discovery, and they want non-public information about the case. So they're allowed to make such requests, obviously, because they're being accused of something. So they want to see what it is and what evidence they have against them. So all of a sudden, Mueller's team tried to, they basically tried to get a delay. Then they were saying these people weren't served right, but they're the ones who served them. And it's really irrelevant whether they were served right or not, because they're not denying that they were served. If they were saying we didn't get served or we didn't know about it, we're not prepared for this, that's one thing. They're coming in saying we want to defend ourselves. Show us what you have, because we know you have nothing. And Mueller made every excuse he could to try to get this delayed. So I wonder why. Because he knows he has no real evidence. Now they're trying to make it, we can't show him this evidence because, yeah, right. I mean, these are easy prosecutions if you have the evidence. Show it. Nobody's going to care. There's nothing new. There's nothing important. If there was something important having to do with Trump, Trump would have been charged. But here it is, Mueller thought he was going to get an easy win, tell people he did something, yada, 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 and sorry, nothing home there, buddy. You can't even get the freebie. You got stuffed, Mueller. Oh, well. Anyways, it's good news. We can get to that. There was a record tax haul in April, the biggest ever monthly budget surplus. The CBO said that the surging economy left Americans with more money in their paychecks and more to pay Uncle Sam. So they're saying the government collected $515 billion, and they spent $297 billion. So it was a surplus of $218 billion, which broke a record that was set in 2001 for $190 billion surplus, which is pretty amazing. They were even surprised at the surplus, which had $40 billion more than they guessed. So analysts obviously know why the economy is surging, right? People are getting more of their own money in their paycheck. They're being able to buy stuff, spend stuff, do it the way they want. Companies are hiring, so more jobs. Obviously, unemployment across the board is at all-time record lows. Let's see here. We had that clown last weekend? DNC deputy chair, Keith Ellison, wears his t-shirt. for the elimination of national borders. I mean, it's like yeah, it's hard to even explain. Like, it's one thing if you want to have debates and you want to talk about your point, but to go out looking like a clown with a shirt that says, you know, eliminate borders, and it was in Spanish, we know, but to even have that I mean, just waste your time printing one up to go around looking like a clown because you really don't have any points to debate, because this guy will never have a debate in public about this policy, and you're just going to wear some shirt to look like a clown and to get some free publicity. It just shows how low class and how unintelligent. Amazing, they had the Met Gala that everyone talked about, and you had people wearing stuff from the Pope, the Papal hat, I guess. I mean, it's embarrassing. Like, one, most of these people spit on religion, so to wear that's pretty ridiculous. Two, for any of these any of these people to lend them that stuff, I mean, it just shows their lack of intelligence. I don't know. Unbelievable. So let's see. We had Rosie O'Donnell with the fake names, donating money. Nothing new there. Always trying to get around the system. We had the Stoneman Douglas shooter. New news came out that he was part of one of those Obama era programs where they pretty much don't report crimes that kids do because they don't want it to be where, they call it the Promise Program. And they just basically, you can do stuff, and instead of getting in big trouble, they pretty much hide your bad behavior because they don't want certain races and religions to be victims of crimes that they commit, and they don't want them to have to pay the price, so they have to overlook their crimes. So then when the white guy does it as well, they have to overlook his crime to make sure it's even. So you found out this guy, not only obviously didn't like people, obviously is a murderer, vandalized bathrooms and so forth. So who knows if he ever even attended the program, but he was supposed to be in the program. So they basically don't report your bad behavior. More signs that we could have known about to stop the shooting, but were never told about or informed. And that's what you got for that. So, enough with that stuff. We can go on to, I think it's UFC time. Now, pay-per-view card this weekend. 224, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Kind of a mixed card for me. Some of these fights, to be honest, the main event, I think is pretty poor in this one. And the other events, most of the other fights are pretty good, pretty interesting, but the main event to me is pretty poor. So unfortunately that puts a little blight on the card, a little mark, a little downturn, but you never know. Sometimes you get big names and they don't do much. But leading off the pay-per-view this Saturday in Brazil, you have, of course, a good matchup for Brazil, Victor Belfort against Lyoto Machida. Belfort 26-13 in his career, Machida 23-8. Obviously, at one point, both these guys were just dominant fighters. Now, they've both been on the downslide. For Belfort, his explosive striking. I mean, a guy that could just go from 0 to 50 on the striking. When he was younger, he had some of the fastest hands there were. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from him. They both have a 74-inch reach. Machida, obviously we know it's karate stance. And he's a tremendous counter striker. So if you attack, he gets out of the way and he gets you. Belfort, the last time he had 2 wins in a row was 5 years ago. And for Machida, the last time he had 2 wins in a row was 4 years ago. So these guys have had pretty rocky times of it recently. Obviously for Belfort, it's obviously the difference in the testing. And I mean, that's what we think it was when he was using that TRT a lot. I mean, he was pretty much almost unstoppable unless your name was Anderson Silva. For Machida, he's just looked a little bit sloppy the last few times, just not as the shots that he used to get out of the way from and then encounter with quickly, he's kind of getting caught with a little bit. So, that's the one thing that's changed with him. I mean, I see this as, I know this probably won't be his last fight. He'll probably fight somewhere else or whatnot. But for Belfort, I think this could be his last hurrah. It should be a pretty decent fight, and I say a split decision win for Belfort. Machida's just not really been impressive, and I think as much as Machida's a counter striker, he doesn't have a lot of the things that are going to, like, for Belfort, if you could take him down at this stage of his career, it's not that hard. You take him down, you get on top, you can, pound him and take care of him. But this fight's going to be mostly on the feet, and I think Belfort can answer most of what Machida has, and Belfort, can take a punch. Next fight is John Lineker against Brian Kelleher. So Lineker is 30-8, Kelleher is 19-8. For Lineker, I mean, he's aggressive, he's in great shape. 67-inch reach. Kelleher is a 66-inch reach. Kelleher is just one of those guys that goes for the kill. You make a mistake and he can put you out. But Lineker's won 7 of 8. His last loss was to TJ Dillashaw. So obviously quality opponent, and Kelleher's won 9 out of 10. But he's kind of moving up in competition. Those weren't very recognizable names. Most of his 9 to 10. So he's really stepping up here. Both of these guys win in a variety of ways. But I just see it, Lineker, unanimous decision. I mean, Lineker's he's pretty aggressive, good. He doesn't tire. I mean, I know Kelleher can get that bigger shot in, but I think Lineker's just going to be too much. He's going to be all over him, and I mean, the guy's got a motor. But it should be, like I said, good fight, unanimous decision. I see Lineker really taking over in that third round. Now, the next fight has always been interesting. You have Mackenzie Dern looking for her second fight. So it was her second fight in the UFC, this is, and pretty interesting. She's kind of happy-go-lucky girl, jiu-jitsu and whatnot, and she's fighting Amanda Cooper. Now, Amanda Cooper is 4-3, Mackenzie Dern 6-0. The whole week, Cooper's been pretty much insulting Darren, saying that I'm going to beat her. She's not even going to make weight. I can't wait till she doesn't make weight. I'm going to take part of her purse. And what happens? Mackenzie Dern comes in 7 pounds overweight, which is pretty embarrassing for Darren. You figure here's somebody trying to make a name for herself, maybe make a new career in MMA, and it looks like, eventually, kind of like Holly Holm first got into it, looks a little bit rough, but she'll get better at it because she's a fighter inside. And sadly, though, when you're over 7 pounds, it doesn't show much respect. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I used to wrestle and cut weight all the time, and sometimes for a struggle or whatnot, and you'd come in and, whoa, what happened on the scale there? But to be over 7 pounds, especially when this is your job, it's just pretty embarrassing. So anyway, back to that fight. Mackenzie Dern 6-0 and 63-inch reach. Amanda Cooper 4-3, like I said, 64-inch reach. Darren known for the jiu-jitsu. And of course, Amanda Cooper actually switches from righty-lefty stances a lot, so she's pretty creative with that. Just throw you some changes there. Darren, for us, she's an Arizona girl, born in Phoenix. She was okay in her first UFC fight, not great, but you figured she'd get better each one. Cooper's kind of win-loss, obviously, is a record win-lose kind of deal. I'm sure she's very motivated for her fight because this can help make her name and get her up in the UFC rankings. And I'm sure she's more mad, even though she said Darren would not make weight. She's probably pissed off at her because 7 pounds is serious. That's one thing. You come in 1 or 2 pounds over, you'll take that 20% and you'll fight on it. But 7 pounds is actually, like they didn't even try to cut weight. So I don't know, unless there's some other underlining issue there, we don't know about it. I was thinking, and I hope the weight doesn't affect anything. I was thinking that Darren would look better this time, and maybe a second round submission. That's what I see for Darren. I'll stick to that. I think, unfortunately, though, I'm not sure what Dana White's going to do with her after this. I mean, you just can't be missing weight like that. It's pretty embarrassing. Now, the next fight, co-main event. Jacare Souza against Kelvin Gastelum. So you have Jacare, 25-5. Everybody knows the name in the MMA community. And Kelvin Gastelum, 15-3, an Arizona guy as well. With Jacare, submissions, he can submit you and he's got power. He can hit you and change the game. He's actually much taller than Gastelum, like 4 inches taller, but the reach is actually not much difference. Jacare's got a 72-inch reach. Kelvin's got a 71-inch reach. With Kelvin, he's one of those guys that has a strong will, though. He comes in there and you look at him and you think, man, he's pretty much going to lose almost any fight that he's in. Now, Gastelum's guy with plenty of weight issues before. Obviously, we heard a lot about that. But like I said, he has such heart to find a way to win. But I think Jacare is just too much. I mean, his game is everywhere. If it stands, if it goes to the ground, I think Souza is just too much, and he wins by unanimous decision. I mean, Sousa's one of those guys. I think it's almost like Frankie Edgar is now. He can beat anybody who's not a champ, and pretty much at it. And when he gets into the championship fights, that's where the struggles become. And that's kind of the way it is for Sousa. When he gets in the Whitaker, Yoel Romero, those are the problem. But anybody below that, he's going to take them out, and he looks good doing it. Now, the main event, Amanda Nunes and Raquel Pennington. This main event does nothing for me. And not because it's a girls' fight. Stop with that poor stuff. It's just, firstly, Amanda Nunes ran from Cyborg. Amanda Nunes versus Cyborg would have been a good fight. Amanda Nunes had her chance. She had her chance to fight all the best, like Holly Holmes, Ronda Rousey, people with names to help her. And now it's the time for her to fight Cyborg, which would have been the fight. It would have been very interesting. It's the fight that we needed from Cyborg's perspective to get our quality name to fight, and from Nunes's perspective to fight somebody with no risk of a title on the line for her. She can went up and fight Cyborg. She loses. Nobody's thinking any less of her. She wins. I mean, unbelievable. She could be known as the best woman fighter ever. But Nunes ran from that fight, and I don't want to hear anything else about it. She didn't want to fight her. She did this and that, blah, blah. Like, I need to fight girls in my division. Who in this division? Division's pretty poor right now. I'm sorry. And Raquel Pennington, come on, seriously? She's a nice girl. She's tough. Sure, don't get me wrong. She's almost like Kelvin Gastelum, Raquel. Tough, finds a way to win, but she's 9-6. And Pennington is coming off over a year and a half. It's been a year and a half since her last fight. Nunes has won 6 in a row. Nunes is 15-4. Like I said, Pennington's 9-6. And she's not coming off a year and a half layoff, Pennington, because she was working on her game, touching up her wrestling, touching up her gut boxing. No, she actually got into an ATV accident. So now this is her first fight back. So we didn't even know how healthy she's going to be. And I know she's training, whatever. But there's a difference between all that stuff and when you get in the ring. When somebody's really punishing you, when, your cardio is going to be tested in a 5-round fight, which she hasn't done, Pennington. So it's really brutal to have a 9-6 fighter coming off a year and a half layoff from a major injury. It's rough. I mean, look, like when Frank Mir had the motorcycle and he came back, he looked rough at first. I mean, literally to the point where they almost cut him. And here it is, Pennington almost, and it wasn't as bad of an accident, but still, just, give her a warm-up fight. I mean, she could have fought anybody else. She wins the title shots there when Nunes is done with Cyborg, but Nunes wanted no part of Cyborg. That's unfortunately what you have here. So I think, Pennington is tough enough to keep this fight going for a while, because she can take a lot of damage. But I think the problem is it's going to be eventually add up to too much damage to where the point is she really can't hurt Nunes, and Nunes will win in the 4th round by a TKO, because that's when she'll pour down, sensing that Pennington does not have much left in the tank after coming off a year and a half layoff and, said injuries. Unfortunately, that's not going to be a good deal. So hopefully, my predictions go well, and from there we can make some good fights, like Nunes versus Cyborg. Like, the winner of Gastelum Sosa fight, probably one of your guys next for the title to fight, Whitaker or Romero. Mackenzie Darren's got to get this weight problem taken care of, and I don't know what else to say, but I can't wait. The next cards after that are all looking pretty good and pretty sharp, and that's pretty much what we got there from the UFC. Should be at least fun now. Even though the card isn't a great card, you never know. Sometimes the prelims have some really, really, really good fights. Let's see, what else do we have in the news today? Who else does the news want to insult? We have MSNBC, of course, the beacon of truth. Daytime host Nicole Wallace suggested that White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders should be choked after she refused to comment Friday on a report that an aide in the administration made a dismissive remark about Senator John McCain's health. Now, that's crazy, because if anybody else said they would choke a woman, if Trump said that, or anybody on Fox News said that, I mean, that's all you would hear for the rest of the month, at least. And somebody needs to be fired, and we need to have a congressional hearing on this. And here it is now. All these people care about John McCain. Now, nobody should say anything disgusting as what we've heard was said, but the bottom line here is that these people couldn't care less about John McCain. How much did they insult him and run him out and say he was an old Billy Goat, and what about his health, and he couldn't be president? I mean, here's the same people when he was running against Obama that pretty much, thought he was an embarrassment, insulted him anytime they could. He was not a friend all of a sudden of the media, which he always was any other time when he was bashing Republicans. And John McCain, now all of a sudden they like him. It's amazing. I mean, he's just a tool, sadly. Not the best lineage of the McCain family. And he's sick, I understand that, but as he has a right to speak, so do we. We have a right to speak about it. We're not being mean and nasty, we're just stating the facts. If you look at it, he's definitely not anywhere near the most successful person in his lineage. He hurt soldiers, I mean, that's it. He's not done a good job as a senator, sorry. He's not done much good. I know people like him because he's funny at times, but, I mean, the Maverick is such a weird nickname for the guy. Like, the Rhino would be an okay nickname for him, but the Maverick? I mean, I don't see him as the first of the frontier, the guy who's pushing forward. I see him as the guy who's kissing butt to get on TV. I see him as the guy who's just a clown, refused to, why did he even run for president? Seriously, he had to be the Manchurian candidate. I'm sorry to say it, but whenever it came time to fight, to argue with Obama, to do anything, I mean, just nothing. And to blame it on Sarah Palin, who was getting attacked, and whether you like Sarah Palin or not, and there are things I like and don't like about her, that's who you picked. You support her. You don't just sit there when she's getting attacked and oh, really? Ho, ho, ho. You should be on the attack. They were vicious with her. And John McCain was pretty much nowhere to be found. I mean, he almost didn't even know he was running for president the last month because it was Sarah Palin everywhere. Sarah Palin, Sarah Palin, Sarah Palin. As a leader, as the guy in charge, as the guy who wanted to be in charge of this country, you need to be the one that was in charge of everything. And taking over and telling people, no, not acceptable. And, coming out there and attacking the other side so they don't have enough time with the personal attacks and going after Palin. Sorry, but you're supposed to be a leader. And you know what? Sometimes there are people that are underneath you that aren't good, and even though you're the one who picked there, but let's just say in general, when you manage something, there are sometimes people under you that aren't that good. That's your job to get the most out of them, to get the best out of them, and to obviously take care of the situation, be in control of it, and stop any attacks against that person, because you're usually only as strong as them because they're underneath you. And when they're stronger, it makes you stronger. But that's one of the reasons why McShane never was the president. No courage to stand up and to stop it. So, let's bring back the M&M guy. What do you think of the show today? No way. No way what? No way. No way. Oh my gosh, this is like a repeat Pete, this M&M guy. So, rub the M&M. Man, there's no candy that comes out of this thing. Oh, man, he's empty. He's empty. Oh, well. No candy for me. Well, I guess that's the end of our show till next week. Hopefully you guys have a great time at the UFC watching this weekend, and we'll be back. Be safe.